Hello? Your Health is Calling, where holistic health meets practical solutions for your well-being. With your host, speaker, New York Times bestselling author, Sue Kostyk, a seasoned holistic health practitioner and longevity coach. Join Sue each week to embark on a journey to uncover the root causes of your health concerns. Through a personalized approach, learn how to decode the messages your body is sending and craft natural protocols to address them. Call in live at 888-994-4995 Studio A.
Good morning. Welcome to Hello, Your Health is Calling. So we have quite a show today. What we have been doing over the last several weeks, and I was trying to count them up and I kind of failed, but anyway, for many weeks we have been walking through what is called a de-stress protocol. And I am an integrative health practitioner, and it's really my whole objective in my practice is to uncover the root cause of what's happening. So many times we just put a band-aid on symptoms and they never go away because we're just kind of covering them up. So we uncover all the root causes of things that might be going on. And so for the last several weeks, we've been going through this de-stress protocol, which was formulated by Dr. Stephen Cabral. And it's really the first place in my practice that we start. And it's an acronym for all of the things that you need to do to be healthy and to live a long, lovely life. So we've been traveling through this journey, and just to recap very briefly on the weeks past, we'll start with D, which is for diet. And it's really a whole food diet. It's not anything fancy. It's staying away from processed foods. We're not eliminating any of your macros, which means your proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. We're all inclusive. And we're staying away from processed foods. We're staying out of the fast food line. Eating more at home, less dining out. That is one of the number one things you can do. The second thing is exercise. And exercise, meaning for everyone, it's movement. Now, some of us are runners, some are HIIT people, some like the Peloton. And if you are a seasoned exerciser, it's important also to know what types and how much exercise you need. But for this protocol, it's really about movement, and it's about getting your 10,000 steps in a day. It's about just making sure that you're not sitting too long all day at a desk, that you're getting up, you're moving around, it's moving your body, moving your lymphatic system. The S is for stress management. And that is one of the number one things that we really start to work on when we're working on our health is how do we manage our stress? Stress is not escapable. We live in a very stressful world right now. So what do we do? What are the different things? So we did talk about some of the things that you can do to identify your stress, manage your stress. And again, if you want to rewatch any of these, they are on the Reinvented Life Network on YouTube, and you can go back and you can watch all of those, or you can, excuse me, send an email to support@hello your health is calling, and we'll make sure you get them. Sorry, I'm going to take a little sip because it's going to be 113 here in Phoenix, Arizona. It's a little dry. So the T, toxin removal, it was a biggie. We spent a couple weeks on it because toxins are everywhere. We talked about how there's over 77,000 man-made chemicals that we are either polluting our air, we're using in our household, we're putting on our skin. It's really one of the biggest things that I work with some of my clients on is just helping educate what to look for, the different websites you can go to. There's an app called Think Dirty that you can download to figure out how toxic your products are. So toxin removal was a big one. Actually, they're all big. The next one is rest, and talking about how important your rest is, how it affects your body when you're not resting, things that you can do. And then we went into emotions and managing our emotions. And that was a two week module, because managing our emotions and how our emotional state affects our overall well-being is really important into our whole body, mind, and spirit. And we are one being. Our mind and our guts are connected. So our emotions, how long we stay in certain emotions, what we can do to overcome some of those emotions and just feel them and then move on. So today we are going to tackle supplementation. And this is kind of a controversial topic to some people, because if you are like me, and way back when, I was under the feeling that I eat a great diet. I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. I don't need supplementation. I get it all through my food. Well, today's topic, we are going to walk through why that is a fallacy. And we don't live 60 years ago where we had great soil and everything. So we are going to move through this. It's going to take a couple weeks, because I want to really make sure that I leave you with not only the information, but also what to do. So we'll take a little bit of a break, and we'll come back and we'll dive in.
Hello? Your health is calling. Feeling bloated, low on energy, dealing with hormone imbalances? Integrative health coach Sue Kostyk is here to assist you. Reach out to Sue for practical health solutions guided by her professional training as a holistic coach. Sue specializes in identifying the underlying causes of health issues and restoring balance. Don't let your health concerns impact your well-being. Contact Sue Kostyk today at 917-362-5176 or via email at sue@symmetryhealthandwellness.com, and take the first step towards a healthier, happier you.
Hello, Your Health is Calling, a new show brought to you by the Reinvented Life Network. Tune in Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
You've been watching Hello, Your Health is Calling. Join me as we dive into the realms of longevity, nutrition, stress management, and toxin removal, all without the use of harsh pharmaceuticals. And now, back to the show. Okay, so let's dive in. So before we get started, our bodies, we are not an endless store of vitamins and minerals. We weren't created that way. We were created to replenish our bodies through our food sources. And so sometimes our stores get super low and we have to supplement. And what happens is, when they're super low, we start to break down other parts of our body, because, as I've said many times, our body is meant for one thing only, and it's to survive. So we are going to do whatever we can. Our bodies are smart. They will rob Peter to pay Paul. And then, as I always say, when Peter has nothing left to give, that's when these things start to break down. And when we start to run out of our own vitamin and mineral stores, we go to muscle tissue, we go to organs, we start to demineralize our bones. One of the biggest things that I find in women when they're in perimenopause or postmenopause is that osteoporosis starts to creep in. And this is a demineralization of your bones. So that's just one example of what's been happening. Is when you start to run out of those vital minerals, your body's going to go to wherever it's stored, and a lot of times it just starts demineralizing your bones, and that's when they start to break down. We also have on the reverse side, we have a huge obesity problem, especially in our country. And while people are severely overweight, they're malnourished. And that seems like such an oxymoron, but they're malnourished. They do not have the vitamins and the minerals that they need to continue in a healthy way. So Even with a healthy diet and you're consuming everything organic and you're not eating a lot of processed foods, you're still not meeting the RDA, the recommended daily allowance, because there's no more nutrients in our food. So we're going to dive in. And where did all the nutrients go? We have depleted our soils. I'm sure that if you Google soil mineralization, you will see that it is not the same as it was even, 40 years ago, when a lot of the farms were practicing the regenerative farming and there wasn't the huge amount of pesticides being sprayed over our crops. So our soils are depleted. We have a very high carbon atmosphere, which is again depleting everything from our soils. We're using cheap fertilizer. So because the farms aren't practicing the regenerative farming, we're going into these big factory farms that the soils are not being fertilized naturally. And we can go back to that slide if you want to put it back up. So we're using cheap fertilizer they're putting the supplemented fertilizer in there that's actually causing the soil to be too high in certain things. So, it's just that whole regenerative farming is very interesting. Now, we're also picking things that aren't mature. They're not ripe. So we're harvesting our fruits and vegetables before their maturity. So they don't have the mineral and the vitamin and the phytonutrient content that they had if they were completely ripe. So what's happening is, when you go to the grocery store and you pick something that looks like it's ripe, but it's been sitting there for quite a while. And it perhaps has been sitting in their refrigerators at a very high temperature. So even though you're picking ripe fruit or vegetables that look like they're in season, they're definitely not at that maturity level that has all of the nutrients in them. Grain-fed meat. If you've heard the rage about grass-fed, it is not a fad. Grass-fed, cows were meant to eat grass. They need to be out in the pasture and getting sunlight. Cows do not eat grains as a diet. So when you have grain-fed beef, that means, or even pork or lamb, that means that they're being fed a process of perhaps GMO corn, which is genetically modified, which means it's been highly sprayed with pesticides. So it's very true. It is not necessarily true that you are what you eat. It's you are what you eats. So when you eat something that has been fed this diet, then you are consuming what they have eaten. Farm-raised fish is the same thing. It is one of those things that, sounds like a good idea, but when you actually look at these fish farms, all of these fish are crammed into a very small space. And they're, again, fed a diet that is not typically what they would eat in the ocean or the lake. So, and because they're so closed in and amongst each other, they're also consuming each other's waste. So, putting it very lightly, you are what you eats. So our water supply too. Our water supply is not good. It's so full of chlorine and things to make it clean that it's not mineralized. And, skipping breakfast, low calorie diets, lack of fruit and vegetables, I'm kind of lumping those in one. We're actually going to go a little bit deeper in these as well. But all of those three together, when we go on a low-calorie diet, we're significantly eliminating a lot of nutrients, as well as skipping breakfast, as well as, eliminating fruits and vegetables because we're too worried about the sugar content. So let's go into the soil. Organic versus conventional vegetables and fruits. So our soils should be very rich in nutrients. Um, like I said earlier, even if you are eating all organic, you very well possibly are not. I mean, you're not getting the recommended daily allowance of your vegetables, of your minerals, vitamins. I couldn't find my word. And especially the phytonutrients. So, in conventional versus organic, the macro is still the same, but the micros are way different. The organic has more vitamins, they have more nutrients. Phytonutrients are the what makes the brightness of the fruit and vegetable as well. So when you talk about phytonutrients, the reds are very good for heart health, and the greens are really good for gut health. So you look at the color, and I always say eat the rainbow. The more colorful, the better. And, it's still, when you talk about our soils, we are actually losing nutrients from our foods. So, all of our foods, our fruits and vegetables, they all have protein, calcium, phosphorus, iron, and, other vitamins. But if you compare them to 40 years ago, they are much less. And the percentages are pretty big, especially if you look at the riboflavin, the B2s, and the vitamin C, those are significantly less, as well as the iron. We are literally losing nutrients. So again, supplementation is really, really important. So let's talk about maturity at harvest and what's happening when we are picking our fruits and vegetables before their time. And this is a common practice unless it's organic. A lot of times our organic vegetables are picked at their prime. I do tell everyone to, if you have a local farmer's market, that is going to be your best source for your fruits and vegetables being picked at maturity. That's when you're going to get the more bang for your buck, if you will. So when you pick them before they're ripe, we're really decreasing our nutrient level. As you saw on the slide before, the percentages of how low they are anyway because of our soil problem, it's even worse if you pick it before it's ripe. And I just put an example that, if you pick a tomato and store it for 5 days, then you have already lost about 13% of the vitamin C from that tomato. Many of our fruits and vegetables are now being sprayed with a coating to prevent it from decay. So this is also something else that you want to keep in mind. A lot of organic vegetables are staying away from it. It is being said that in time, everything's going to go to this because it's preventing food waste. But again, it's if you can stay away from this coating, then you definitely want to, because again, it hasn't been tested. It has been approved by the FDA, but I don't trust it. We don't really know much about it. So our high carbon atmosphere and cheap fertilizers, pollution does more than just affect our breathing, our, inhaling all the toxins and everything. It is also definitely impacting our soils. It's decreasing the nitrogen, potassium, magnesium, and protein in our foods. All this pollution is seeping into our ground. So, even if you have an organic farming place that you get all of your stuff from, there is still going to be a pollutant content in that soil. So just because they don't spray things, one of the things you can do if you do buy organic vegetables and fruits is just rinse them off in a baking soda and purified water mixture. Or you can do a apple cider vinegar and water mixture. You don't want to do both because baking soda and apple cider vinegar, the apple cider vinegar will counteract the baking soda. So you want to do either or. And, and again, as I mentioned before, the regenerative farming practices, they help the soils with the natural fertilizer of the animal. So if there's a farm that has cows and sheep and lamb and chickens And those natural fertilizers from the animal that's being fed properly, then you're going to have a better soil. So those are just a few comments about that. Let's talk about diet. There was a whole diet module, and you can email me at support@hello your health is calling, and we can get you that module if you're more interested in the diet aspect. But also what's happening to create deficiencies is low calorie diets, and we're skipping breakfast. We're being told that not eating till noon is the best way for you to burn fat. But what's happening is when we're on a low calorie diet, we are eliminating macros. We are perhaps in a low carb diet where we've eliminated fruits, vegetables, only eating celery because it's pure water. We are not eating fruit because we've been told that the sugar content in the fruit is bad. And while that is true for some people, there are low glycemic fruits that you can choose from. And I have all these lists. You can, again, contact me at support@hello your health is calling, and we'll get you lists. But you need to have each macronutrient on your plate, so that you have a better chance at having the right recommended daily allowances. So, and also by skipping breakfast, it does make you eat more throughout the day because your body is deficient and it needs to catch up. So you end up eating more, and you end up craving things because you're hungry. And when I'm hungry, I reach for the first thing that I can. So if you don't have something that is on a healthy meal plan that you can reach for, then you're going to reach for something that is probably not so good for you. And it does lead, if you fast for too long, you are going to get in more of a catabolic state, which means your body is starting to take from your muscle tissue for those nutrients. So again, remember, robbing Peter to pay Paul. It happens. That's the only way your body survives. So, and you will start to experience muscle loss. You will start to have blood sugar issues, hypoglycemia, for example, and you will be tired. Food is energy. So, skipping breakfast, low calorie diets, not a good thing. So let's go on to the grain fed meat. We did talk a little bit about it in detail earlier, but just to, reiterate, and this module is about supplementation. So what I'm doing here first is I'm telling you why we don't have the nutrients that we need. And then I'm going to go into what you can do and why supplementation is so important. So hang in with me. So the grain-fed meat and the farm-raised fish, again, you're getting a genetically modified product because of what they're eating. So when they're fed corn, soy, the farm-raised fish, sometimes, they're fed just like chicken and all these byproducts and stuff, and that's not what fish eat. Fish eat things from the ocean and the lake and the sea. It's they need to be eating their natural diet. The big factory farms and the big factory fish farms, there's so much virus and bacteria that the animals actually are malnourished. Even though they look fat and happy, they're very malnourished. It's just like a human being. When we're obese, we look fat and happy. But we are not. We are malnourished, and we don't have the vitamins and minerals that we need to make us healthy and to make our systems work. And with animals, it's the same way. You're not going to have a healthy flesh or a healthy muscle if you're eating stuff that's not good for you. We're feeding them antibiotics because of all the bacteria, and so we're consuming that. So, there was a statistic that I found kind of alarming that as of 2017, 60% of our antibiotics were going to animals, not humans. I mean, we over medicate ourselves as well with antibiotics, but I found that kind of alarming. And, everything is loaded with these drugs and toxins and stuff. So when we're trying to lower our toxic load, as this whole de-stress protocol is, we need to consider our food, definitely. Lots of studies have shown that when you eat farm-raised salmon, salmon is a great omega-3, which we'll talk about that in the supplementation time next week. But we need omega-3s for our brain health and our heart health, and we're instructed to eat salmon because it's very high. Well, if it's farm-raised, it's got so much omega-6 in it because it's not a healthy product, and it's really affecting our brain health. And we're finding that people who are diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, or low IQ, or even on the autism spectrum, it means that they're super low in omega-3s. And so eating a farm-raised salmon or fish is going to, you're not getting the omega-3s that you need. Okay, enough on that bandwagon. So lack of fruits and vegetables and our water sources, lack of fruits and vegetables go into our diet. We have demonized fruit, especially fruit, because of the sugar content. But it is natural occurring sugar. It is not refined sugar. It is not sugar that has been made in a laboratory. It is the natural occurring sugar in the fruits and some vegetables that we need. Our body needs them. And there are some people, if you are diabetic, then you need to definitely be on a lower glycemic diet, which means you need to look for those fruits and vegetables that hit that low glycemic index, meaning the content of sugar. But you need it. By not eating fruits and vegetables, you're really damaging your gut. And you need all of the fiber and, again, the phytonutrients. You need those nutrients that are in those specific fruits and vegetables. So, the fiber in the fruit counteracts the spike in the blood sugar. So when you're told that the fruit is going to spike your blood sugar, it's really a fallacy, because the fiber in the fruit, especially in berries, which you need berries for the antioxidants and the phytonutrients, the fiber in berries is very counteractive with any kind of spike in your blood sugar. So unless you are diabetic, I'm, leaving those people out. I definitely work with a lot of people who have type 2, and we work through it, and it's very controllable with your diet. So our water, again, there's no minerals in our water whatsoever. The natural calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium has all been filtered out. All the trace minerals have been filtered out because our water is terrible. And so we're not getting those minerals through our water. So the best kind of water is spring water that's in a glass bottle. And that is water that still is mineralized. It's found in very clean water sources. Our water used to be so highly mineralized because it would travel through the rocks and mud and dirt, and as you would collect it and maybe put it through a sieve to get the specks of sand and rocks out of it, you had a very, very potent mineralized product. But because our water sources are terrible anymore, and they're so highly filtered, you're really just not even getting a good product at all. And I do highly, highly recommend using an electrolyte additive to your water. Not just anyone. Do not do that. Putting a squeeze of lemon, a pinch of sea salt or pink salt or Celtic salt is a great way of rehydrating your water. There's a lot of companies that have a good clean electrolyte powder. Email me again at support at Hello, Your Health is Calling. I will get you the names. I vetted several, and that's just a really good way to make sure that you're getting your magnesium, sodium, potassium, because if you are drinking a lot of water and going to the bathroom a lot, that means that you're not absorbing the water. So you're probably still very dehydrated. So, as we age, digestion also plays a very big part in our ability to absorb. And so we also have to take into consideration that as we age, this deteriorates as well. So, our hydrochloric acid reduces. Many of us, when we age, we start to experience heartburn, GERD. That means that you don't have enough stomach acid. It doesn't mean you have too much. So when you take a blocker, that is even making it less. So it's a Band-Aid. So there's, so many things that I can talk about on this subject, but we'll save that for another time. If you do have low stomach acid, we need to find the root cause. So the definition of a supplement, a supplement is something that enhances or completes something else when you add to it. You need to pick up where your diet leaves off. You need to it keeps you healthy and balanced. It's necessary. Supplementation is necessary to help your liver clean your blood. And I've talked about in the toxin module how our liver is our biggest detoxification organ, and our kidneys as well. So when you're not giving those organs what it needs, it's not able to clean your blood, and you get toxic, and that's when your cup overflows and disease creeps in. So whatever you are genetically predisposed to, genetics load the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. So whatever you're predisposed to, when your toxic load overflows, then that's when you start to get the disease. And supplementation, it is one of the best things you can do that's going to help counteract the pulling the trigger. Supplementation is one of the best things you can do to prevent disease, prevent cancers. And we do test in my practice. We test for vitamin and mineral deficiencies, and actually even if there is too much, you don't like vitamin D, you don't want too much vitamin D. So functional lab testing, again, we do it in my practice. You can email me, support@Hello, Your Health is Calling. We can figure out what test is best. Next week, because we have run out of time, we are going to go over the top 15 supplements, how to pick them, how to determine what you need, and some cautionary advice too, because you don't know what you don't know. And you don't want to just go pick out an over-the-counter vitamin at CVS and decide that that's what you need. You need help. We need to do testing. This is why testing is so important. I'm going to show you some examples, and we will hopefully help you to navigate the topic of supplementation. Thank you for watching today. I appreciate you. Remember, your health is calling. You need to answer it. You need to listen, and we will talk again next week.
Thank you for tuning in to another empowering episode of Hello, Your Health is Calling with Sue Kostyk. Remember, your health journey is ongoing, and we're here to support you every step of the way. If you have any questions, insights, or stories to share, don't hesitate to reach out. You can connect with us on social media or call in live at 888-994-4995 Studio A. Together, we're transforming lives and embracing holistic well-being. Until next time, prioritize your health, and remember, your health is calling.